De facto, fresh news every day.
The Middle East is awash in blood as Israel and Palestine plunge into a new round of war. Ukraine enters the arms market. Zelensky suggests the world buy weapons directly from the UN. Macron was detained in New York. He said it was because of Trump. He had to call Trump. The Kremlin is under fire as world leaders accuse Putin of widening the war. Zelensky told reporters that he feels like the president of America. Trump stated in closed talks with Arab leaders that he will not allow the annexation of the West Bank. Gaza is under attack again. Israel is bombing Hamas targets, and Palestine is responding with shelling. Explosions and fire engines are heard throughout the Strip, according to the Red Cross. Dozens have been killed and hundreds injured. The UN says the situation is spiraling out of control, with a humanitarian catastrophe looming. In Jerusalem, the government is discussing new operations, and the army is amassing reserves at the border. Palestinian groups vow to continue their resistance. Protests erupted overnight in Beirut and Amman, with crowds demanding action. The region smells of a major war. At the General Assembly, Zelensky took the podium. His words were harsh. Russia will stop only when the world unites. He demanded increased pressure and accelerated arms deliveries. There was applause in the hall, but also tense faces. Some delegations listened in silence, while others demonstratively left. Zelensky warned, if the Kremlin is not stopped, everyone will be under attack tomorrow. His speech became one of the session's most resonant speeches. Washington has struck a blow to Europe. The White House announced a 15% tariff on EU cars and auto parts. The decision is retroactive to August. European automaker shares immediately plummeted, and markets panicked. Brussels is threatening retaliatory measures, but behind the scenes, they admit the blow is painful. Experts say this isn't economics, it's politics. America is showing its allies who dictates the rules. The Germans call the move aggressive, the French, unfair. Washington remains silent. For the EU, this is the first sign of a major trade war. Bashkortostan, Russia. Ukrainian drones struck a petrochemical complex overnight. Explosions were heard tens of kilometers away. Firefighters were on the scene, and huge clouds of smoke were rising. Russian authorities claimed that the facility was not damaged, but videos of burning storage tanks circulated on social media. This is the second airstrike in a month on infrastructure linked to Gazprom. Moscow accuses Kyiv of terrorism, while Kyiv responds that it is a legitimate target. Experts say strikes deep within Russia are becoming the new norm. The air defense system is clearly failing. A shooting occurred at an immigration office in Dallas. A man opened fire on employees, sending the building into chaos. Several people were injured, and one was killed. Police cordoned off the area, with dozens of emergency vehicles and helicopters nearby. Witnesses described chaos and the screams of people trying to hide. The shooter was apprehended after a brief shootout. His motives and how he brought a weapon into the secure building are currently being investigated. Authorities have already stated that the security of federal institutions is in question. On the sidelines of the General Assembly, a barrage of criticism is directed at Putin. Zelensky accuses him of intending to expand the war beyond Ukraine. European and Asian leaders are joining him. Behind the scenes, the talk is that Moscow is no longer hiding its plans to destabilize its neighbors. Meetings continue late into the night, discussing new sanctions. The Russian delegation responds with silence, avoiding the cameras. But the signals are clear. The international community's patience is wearing thin. The Kremlin is increasingly being called the main source of chaos in Europe and the world. At a closed meeting with Arab leaders, Trump declared that there would be no Israeli annexation of the West Bank. Israeli politicians called it interference, while Arab media called it a signal of hope. Washington is playing on the contrast, supporting Israel but limiting its ambitions. Diplomats say this is an attempt to calm tensions amid a new war. But the question remains to what extent Trump's words will translate into action. Trump's statement that Ukraine could regain its territory has caused a storm in Moscow. The Kremlin responds, "We have no choice but war." These words instantly spread across all news agencies. Diplomats are calling this a direct threat confirmation that Russia is betting on escalation. Social media is erupting in anger and panic. Behind the scenes at the UN, discussions are underway about whether the Kremlin has crossed a dangerous line. Russia publicly admits that it no longer sees peaceful options. This is a new phase of the conflict. Brussels is discussing a new mechanism, a reparations loan for Ukraine. The money is to come from frozen Russian assets. The sum is enormous, up to €130 billion. Behind the scenes, they say this sets a precedent that will send a signal to all aggressors. Moscow is already furious, threatening retaliation. But the EU is resolute. This is a chance for Ukraine to compensate for the damage and support its army. A decision has not yet been made, but discussions are underway in earnest. The economic war against Russia is reaching a new level. A funny but revealing scene unfolded in New York City. French President Emmanuel Macron was stopped by police due to street closures. Donald Trump's motorcade had blocked traffic. Macron even called Trump and told him,
"How are you? Guess what? I'm waiting in the street because everything is frozen for you."
Ultimately, the French leader was forced to walk all the way to the French embassy. Well, this challenge was started by Turkish President Erdogan, who had recently been detained by police. Eyewitnesses say it almost came to a standstill. Looks like Trump and his motorcade are to blame for everything. Share your thoughts in the comments. A man believed to be involved in a large-scale cyber attack has been detained in Europe. Airport systems in several countries were hit, disrupting hundreds of flights. The arrest took place in a Berlin suburb, where servers and cryptocurrency wallets were found. Investigators claim a group was behind the attack. Authorities promise to uncover all connections, including those with government agencies. Experts say aviation is becoming a new target for hackers. This is a worrying sign for Europe. Chaos could reoccur at any moment. Answering journalists' questions, Zelensky said,
Yeah, could I ask a question? Robert Moore from ITV.
Excuse me, sorry, I have the question.
I'm feeling like President of the United States.
Okay, well, let's go first.
Paris is on edge. The court is preparing to announce its verdict in the trial of former President Nicolas Sarkozy. He's accused of bribery and illegal campaign financing. The politician denies everything and maintains his innocence. Journalists and supporters are camped outside the courthouse. French media are calling the trial historic. The verdict could set a precedent for the entire French elite. Regardless of the outcome, Sarkozy's reputation has already been seriously damaged. France is once again debating the limits of power and the price of political connections. The moment the Magura V-5 naval drone exploded, the one used by the Ukrainian armed forces to attack Novorossiysk, its value was approximately $273,000.
We have decided to open up arms exports. And these are powerful systems tested in a real war when every international institution failed. And we are also ready to grow our defense production together with strong partners so that their protection is modern and reliable. You don't need to start this race from scratch. We're ready to share what has already proven itself in real defense.
A secret sewage discharge has been detected on one of Turkey's most popular beaches, Cleopatra Beach in Alanya. According to measurements, pollution levels there are nearly 1,000 times higher than normal. Hong Kong is recovering from the impact of Super Typhoon Ragasa. Streets are flooded, and footage shows residents fishing by hand amidst torrential waters. Shops and transport are reopening, but the damage is enormous. Authorities are calculating billions in losses. Hundreds of homes are damaged, and tens of thousands are without power. Rescuers are working around the clock to clear away the rubble. Journalists are sharing shocking scenes from the affected areas. YouTube announced that a number of previously blocked channels would be reinstated. The decision was due to a review of its rules and user complaints. Dozens of media projects and bloggers were included. The internet erupted with discussion. Some call it a victory for free speech, others a concession to pressure. Journalists note that the company is regaining the trust of its audience. For creators, this is a chance to get back on air, and for viewers, a chance to return to their familiar content. The news has become a big hit on social media, where thousands are commenting on the unexpected turn of events.